This is the Back to School Assembly. My name is Brandon Copeland. Some people call me Professor Cope. I am a Christian, a husband, a father, a son, a brother. I am also a professor of financial literacy at my alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania. I'm going into my third year teaching. My third year will be this off season. I am a co-founder of a foundation. My wife and I, my wife Taylor, she's on as well. We founded this nonprofit organization called Beyond the Basics Inc. We try to help kids realize their full potential. I also play linebacker for the New England Patriots. You can see me right there flexing on the picture, trying to make tackles on Sundays and or Mondays when games get postponed, and just doing what I can to live out my childhood dream of being an NFL player. But while doing that, I'm also maximizing my platform, maximizing the opportunity, which is something that we're going to talk with you all about because believe it or not, you have a major opportunity in front of you. You have a major platform. It's just on you to have to put in a little bit of work to understand it and dig for it. This entire virtual assembly is presented to you by FitMoney, fitmoney.org. Go visit them. The thing that brings FitMoney and I together is our passion for financial literacy education. There's a lot of things that are being taught to us all in school. It's good stuff, history, math, reading, all of those types of things. You need all of that type of stuff. You also need to emphasize your financial literacy education. What does financial literacy mean? Your money, your budgets, your how to buy a house. You want to drive a car one day, you need to know how to purchase one or how to lease one. Insurance, credit cards, all of those types of things. These are practical skills, practical information that you are sure and guaranteed to use at some point in your life. So I really want to make sure that you all take the time to visit fitmoney.org after the presentation tomorrow. Visit with your parents, visit with your teachers, and learn something, because again, I guarantee you something that you find on the website, something that you take from this presentation, you will use at some point of your life. So with that being said, let's get this show on the road. I want to point out the fact that those are pearly whites right there too. Boom. First and foremost, I think it's very important for you all to understand who I am as a person. When you all get the chance, especially the students I'm speaking to, but also everyone on this webinar, it's very important. A lot of people meet me or one of my teammates and they just think NFL player. They just think New England Patriot, and they just put that title in front of everything else you do. And really, that is one of not the last things I do, but it's one of the things that makes it's a piece of who Brandon Copeland is. It's just the same way that the things that you're interested in, your passions, your hobbies, are just a piece of who you are. So it's important for you all to understand my team. My team is my family, right? You have my beautiful wife right up there. You have my son rocking the daddy jersey. That was when I was with the Jets. We're going to talk about the green and white right now. We're just going to talk about the better days with the Patriots. However, those are my heart right there. In the bottom left corner, you see another piece of my family, my mother, my brother, my cousins, aunts, etc. But know who you are. The biggest thing we want to challenge you all to do is as we move through this presentation, understanding who you are as an individual. And part of that root, that background, that makeup is your family, your team. Who is your team? Resume. Again, I went through it a bit briefly. Why does anything that I say matter? Or why should you take any piece of advice I give to you today? One, like I said, I'm a professor. Doesn't really mean much. Means that, it's just a nice title in front of the name, but it means I put in a lot of time, work, and research to understand certain things so that I can help deliver information to you clearly, concisely, and in a digestible way. I do own a couple real estate companies. You see my brother and I in the bottom right corner. We're flipping houses. We have some rentals. We have some flips. I enjoy real estate. So, I watch those HGTV shows and I learn how to pick out nice feng shui, pick out carpets, cabinets in the kitchen, tile colors, all of that type of stuff. I'm picking it out. I'm having fun doing that. So that's a bit of who I am as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a production company, which is helping put this on Copeland Media. So again, important to know the quote unquote man behind the athlete. My journey. Let's get into this. So coming into the NFL, this is my 8th season in the NFL. I went to the University of Pennsylvania, which is in Philadelphia. It's an Ivy League school. Not too many Ivy Leaguers in the NFL. Going into the NFL, there was, you see in the bottom left picture, I had my first surgery ever 6 weeks before the biggest interview of my life. I tore my meniscus squatting. And, at that point in time, it looked like there was no chance that this young lad would make it into the NFL. But didn't necessarily listen to not the critics, but didn't necessarily listen to what most people would have done or what most people would have said or thought about it. Just had a dream, had a vision, and just kept working. I ended up getting a chance to go to my hometown team. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. So up there in the top middle, you see me with the Baltimore Ravens as a rookie, just trying to get a job, trying to stack good days, as we'd say. And again, I'll get into that a bit more, but just trying to have a good day on Monday, come back and repeat that on Tuesday, come back and repeat that on Wednesday, and just keep doing those things, stack good days. I was a long shot, complete long shot, undrafted, which means you're on the bottom of the totem pole. And to be honest with you, the coaches came up to me the second day I was there and told me out of the 90 people that they would keep, I was 92 or 93. Therefore, I was getting cut after practice. And I remember just thinking to myself, wow, that's pretty bad news to hear. However, I'm living my dream right now. I literally have on a Baltimore Ravens jersey. I have my last name on the back of it. I might as well. This is my last time playing football. That was what I was thinking at the time. I might as well have as much fun as I've ever had playing football right now. And so went out there, had a day, played so free, did not really care about the playbook, just had fun, played football for what it was worth. And literally somehow or another, God blessed me. And the team decided to keep me. From there, I went and played made their practice squad for a few weeks, went into the Tennessee Titans for their practice squad. And that was my entire first year. Going into year 2, again, I'm in the year 8 now, so we'll speed this up a little bit. But going into year 2, I'm thinking, okay, I've made it 1 year. I was a long shot year 1. There's no way I'm not gonna make it this year. Now I know the answers to the test. I know what to look for. I know what I'm doing. I make it 2 weeks on the practice squad with the Tennessee Titans. And then after that, I get cut. I get released. Thinking, okay, cut, everyone, is a nice word for fired. You're not good enough. Get out of here, kid. That's literally what they said. They had somebody come with a broom and literally push me out the building. It was crazy. I thought that I would be back onto another team a few weeks later. Unfortunately, no teams called. Just wasn't good enough. Cope at that time was not good enough to them in their eyes. Kept working every day, kept training every day, gave myself a year to get back into the NFL. Fortunately, I got a shot in that April. So this is literally months off from football, complete long shot. Got another shot to get back into the NFL that April. I had a great day at the office because I had been training ever since the day I got cut. Ever since the day I was fired, I was training, I was working, even when it seemed like a long shot. I remember it would be Sunday night football, Monday night football. Guys would be out there playing. I'd be on the treadmill running and just watching, just waiting for my turn. And even though I didn't really want to train during that time, I wanted to just kind of, live in the moment and drown in my sorrows, so to speak. I just kept working. And when I did get my opportunity, I was ready, but I would not have been ready without all the work when no one was watching, when no one cared. So keep that in mind. Got my chop with the Detroit Lions, ended up making the active roster finally. Active roster just means you're playing on Sundays. You're in the big leagues now. You're actually running around on game day, making tackles, having fun. Do that. And I play there for 2 years. I'm going into my 3rd year there, and I am going into, we have our first preseason game against the Indianapolis Colts. We practice against them a couple of days before. Going into those practices, I'm having practices of my life. I'm like, I don't know. Some of y'all might be too young to remember Space Jam. Some of these students, I know these teachers and parents, y'all know Space Jam. But I'm like the Monstars. Like, I had somebody else's powers. I'm looking down at my hands, making plays like this ain't even me. I'm just, I'm killing it. And so the day before that game, coach comes up to me and he tells me, hey, Brandon, I know how hard you've been working for this opportunity. I know how hard you've been working for this moment. I just wanted to let you know you're going to be our starting linebacker this year. You've worked very hard. I'm proud of you. Coach believes in you. I believe in you. I just wanted to let you know how proud of you I am. Thanks, coach. I'm acting like, you got to act like you've been there before. Everybody in the world, you got to know, like, hey, when somebody gives you good news, you got to act like you expected it. Yeah. I've been working hard, coach, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I told you, we worked so hard for this. I'm thinking about the time I was cut, the time I was told I wasn't good enough. I'm just happy. I'm excited. The next day, we go to that first preseason game. I'm a starter now. As a starter in the first preseason game, you don't play that much. You just got to know these things. Once you all get to the league, you'll understand it. I only get my few reps. I got to stay fresh for the real season finally, right? So we get into that game, and I'm doing my few reps. On my last couple of reps, my last rep, little did I know, I'm going to make a tackle on a play. I end up making a tackle. I do a wrap and roll, but my arm gets stuck in the pile. And when I do this roll, all I hear is a not body shouldn't really make that sound. Okay, well, let me turn over, try to do a push-up. Not really feeling the strength, but I'm also, again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm a smart guy. I'm like, I probably shouldn't be doing a push-up on something I just felt ripped. So let me go off to the sideline. I'll go back into the training room. They pull me back underneath the stadium, and the trainer meets with me. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Cope, got some bad news for you, kid." Oh, what's that? I mean, I knew it was bad news. Something ripped. Something has to be bad, right? He's like, "Oh, you tore your pec." Tore my pec. Okay. Not really in pain. I can't really stretch it that much, but I'm not really in pain. Okay. Tore my pec. All right. What's that? That's got to be, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm a starter now. Season's coming up right around the corner, so I got to be ready to go. Nah, kiddo, that's 6 months. 6 months. When you carry the one, you add that. This is August. You carry them. Hold on, that's 6 months. That's the whole season. Yeah, I'm sorry, kid. Your season's over. He must not be talking to me because I'm the starter. I know he don't. Did somebody? Hey, can you tell him to go get a Band-Aid? Tell him to go get some peroxide. I'm a starter now. I can't. How am I gonna miss the whole season? That quickly. Thing I've been working for my entire life. Finally being that NFL player starter that I've always wanted to be, always dreamed of. Gone like that in a matter of one play. Wasn't thinking about tearing my pec. Wasn't that I was unprepared. Wasn't that I wasn't focused on the moment. It's just sometimes life happens. It's kind of similar to what we going through right now. Sometimes life happens. Some of these things are out of our control. This pandemic, completely out of our control. The thing is, how do we respond to it? How do we bounce back from it? How do we make sure that we come out of it stronger than when we went in? So for me, during that process, and this picture at the bottom left is of that surgery, I believe. For me, the first few days were rough, right? Like I'm sure for all of us going through this virtual learning period and all of that type of stuff, you're trying to figure out, hold on, how do I adjust to this new schedule? How do I this is not what my reality was literally a few weeks ago, a few months ago, last year, this time. How do I manage this? For me, you need that time. I needed a few days of just woe is me. Let's have the pity party really quickly, right? But at a certain point, you have to understand and accept what reality is. You have to accept the new norm. You have to accept the current state of order and operations. And so for us right now, it's this virtual assembly. It's this virtual space. For me at that time, it was, hey, my season is over. What am I going to do? Am I going to sit around for the next 6 months and just feel bad for myself? Am I going to be in a pity party? Or am I going to figure out ways to build myself and come out of this so much stronger than I went into it with? And when I say stronger, I'm not talking about push-ups stronger. I'm not talking about bench press and squat stronger. I'm talking about mentally, spiritually stronger, right? Is my soul stronger when I come out of this? How do I make sure that mentally nothing can ever affect me or throw me off kilter ever again? How do I make sure that this is not the input that completely affects and derails my output for the rest of my life? And so fortunately, with a lot of students, and I want to applaud all of you who've taken the time to get on this today, because by you getting on this today, it already lets me know where your mind is. You're already proactively taking charge of your life. You're taking ownership of your life and your education. It's 7 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. Drake used to say the club was going up on a Tuesday. And I know clearly all the clubs are shut down right now, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of different things you could be doing right now, but you're sitting here listening to some random guy talk about his pec injury. And the biggest thing, the real point and the real moral of the story is, how do you take what life throws at you sometimes, and how do you reformulate that and bounce back stronger than ever? Because me personally, I bounced back from that year, and a lot of people thought I would never recover from that injury, never come back. I bounced back that year with the best season of my life, and now I'm living literally 3 years after that surgery. I'm in the best years of my life, on the field, off the field, literally in everything. But it would not have happened that way if I would not have taken that entire process, that entire strain seriously. It's very, very important to know that the hard times are what actually make the good times even possible. First and foremost, it's not just what makes the good times good, right? Like, it's not what just allows me to go on the field on last night and sit in the middle of the Kansas City Chiefs stadium and just kind of reflect on the time when coaches told me I was too fat and too slow to make it into the league. It's not just what makes those times memorable and reflection worthy. Without those hard times, I would have been cut a long, long time ago. I would not have made it this far. I would not be as hungry. I would not be as persistent. I would not have all of this will to work and to take ownership of my life. So I want you all to understand that you are in the midst of these hard times. You are alive right now for a reason. And the sooner that you understand that and take ownership of that and understand that, hey, I'm in this virtual space, and, I don't really feel like focusing today. I don't really feel like paying attention today, but let me lock in, because this is going to make the end game that much better, the end game that much sweeter for me. That's what I'm challenging you all to do. As teachers, as parents, the same thing. I mean, we all are going through the quote unquote monotony, the routine of this space. How can I be the best teacher in the world? How can I provide a resource to my students that I haven't been? How can I use this time as a parent to make sure that I am building with my children and using the things at fitmoney.org or the other resources that my teachers that the schools are impressing on our students, on my children, to make sure that they are actually receiving this information at home and retaining it. What I always try to challenge people to do and understand, let's get off these pictures of me. Well, I guess it's more, sorry, my bad. What I always try to challenge people to do is understand that years from now, there are no excuses in life, right? So if we had a whole virtual spring, right? As a football team, as a New England Patriots, we had our whole off-season training as a spring virtual session. If I am lackadaisical in that process, if I'm not learning my plays, and I go out there yesterday or I go out there this weekend against the Broncos and I miss a tackle, I won't be able to say to Bill Belichick, how do y'all think that'll go over if I tell Bill Belichick, like, hey, man, well, when we went over that, we did it over Zoom in April. So my bad, coach. How do y'all think? For those that know of the Bill Belichick personality, how do y'all think that conversation is going to go? I can't really see any chats or anything like that, but you can guess in your head. I'll probably be packing up my stuff and I'll be heading back home and, getting work on my second career. It's not an excuse. Same way, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, you're not going to be able to tell your children, your loved ones, your boss, hey, the only reason why I'm not where I want to be in life is because back in 2020, they had this pandemic, COVID-19, man. And guess what? I had to go to school virtually. I missed that lesson. I missed that class. Can you give me a break this time? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So what I'm challenging all of you all to do is to take ownership of your education. And therefore, by doing that, you'll take ownership of your life. At the end, when this is all said and done, people are going to look at you and want, and this is a results-based society. So again, the excuses won't fly. So we need to make sure that you need to make sure, you need to make sure that you get whatever you need out of your education. If your teacher is going over something in school and you're just not getting it virtually, then maybe you need to get on YouTube to learn a bit more. Maybe you need to Google it. Or maybe you need to go to your parent and ask for a little bit more help. Maybe you need to find a virtual tutor, right? If there's certain things that you just need extra help on, go seek it out. Go get it. Please, please, please don't put it off. Don't think, oh, I'll get this years from now. Someone else will teach it to me. Let's not do that. This is the time now. You got plenty of time at home to focus on some of these things. So why not focus on you? Build a better you. This slide right here, really quickly, and I'm going to try to get up out of this presentation, but this slide right here are some of the things that we've done in the community. Again, usually these things we be doing in person. My wife, my brother, my board of a few of my friends and college teammates, we've done these things together. And, to be quite honest with you, without football, some of these things would not happen at the level that they've happened. So I want to also challenge you to understand the power of what you're doing and what you're pushing through is not only affecting you, but it's also affecting others. It's affecting your parents. It's affecting your teachers. It's affecting your friends. It's affecting the people that you can eventually help one day with your platform as you expand it, as you grow it. So what I do personally, when things get tough, because they do, when things get hard, what I do is I think about all the other people who are counting on me that I don't even know yet, that I've never met. A lot of you on this webinar I've never met before in my life, but you were counting on me to be here. This weekend we got thrown, we got thrown an audible, a variable really quickly, and our game got postponed for the first time in my life ever. The day before a game, I've been sitting there and the coach says, hey, it's probably postponed. So we can all go home right now and we'll have to do everything else virtually. Speaking of virtually, we just got to get prepared for the Super Bowl champs virtually. Okay. Well, can I walk out onto the field with an excuse? No. Right. Is the situation perfect? Is it what I would have wanted or planned? No. But it is what it is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, there's more people counting on me to push through the situation, find a way through and be successful through it. I have to get the job done. So I want you all to get the job done as well. Boom. With that being said, right at about 30 minutes right now, So I want you all, and I'm gonna stop sharing the screen so I can look at the different questions and stuff like that. But I want you all to feel free to throw any questions that you have into the Q&A part. I also want to make sure that you all take down this information. My social media is bcope51. Learn Fit Money at Learn Fit Money. Please go to them, follow them. Make sure that you are understanding that, again, and I'll touch on it after I get off this slide, but financial literacy, there's a reason why an NFL player in his offseason takes the time to go back to campus, back to school, literally go back to school every week to teach financial literacy. It's the most important education that you can get. So teachers, parents, students, please listen to this. You need, like, these are the things that you will actually use in life. That's no offense to all the other things that are being taught. It's just, you will need your credit. You will need to budget at some point. You want to buy a house, or you want to rent. You want to buy even something, an appliance. One day you're going to want to buy a washer and a dryer. What goes into those thoughts? You don't want the first time you're doing some of these major life decisions, you don't want your first time to be thinking about them to be at the contract point where you're signing on the dotted line. Now you just signed for a 30-year mortgage or a 30-year lease. Basically, for those who don't know, mortgage, for those who don't know, a 30-year loan on your house, right? A 30-year contract to buy your house. You don't want the first time you're learning about that information to be when you're signing on the dotted line. So go to fitmoney.org. You can go to fitmoney.org/Brandon and figure out ways to start having some of these conversations. And these are not things that have to be overwhelming. You don't have to, you can have a conversation with people just like this. I wish we were all in a nice little round circle, 6 feet apart, with masks on, of course, and able to just talk these things out and have a nice, candid, casual conversation about them. And it literally is that. There's no tests involved and all those types of things. It's just, let's learn about these things. Let's have these conversations more often. So again, the first time we're hearing about them or learning about them is not when we're actually making the biggest decision of our lives, because a lot of these decisions are. So with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Boom. Oh, and we have some questions in the chat bar. Boom. All right. So first question. What do you do to get yourself out of an unproductive cycle? So for those who, so when I think it's also good to kind of describe, so we're talking about the same thing. So an unproductive cycle, right? That's when, you just kind of like in a rut, you don't feel like getting work done. There's a bunch of things you need to do, a bunch of homework that needs to be done, but you're like, don't really feel like doing it today. Let me push it off to tomorrow. Then tomorrow gets here. Don't really feel like doing it. Push it off to Thursday, right? So for me, I lean into those cycles. There's certain things where it's like you have to push through. Like there's a deadline, right? Like my brother Chad, he's on me right now because we got a deadline for something tomorrow, and I've been kind of pushing it off, but that's because of the game postponement and all that type of stuff. So there's certain things that you just gotta man or woman up and get done, right? Other things, there are times when you can lean into that unproductivity, I think. And what I mean by that is there's times where you have to take those complete mental breaks because you will just spend time doing things and you're not actually getting things accomplished because you're just, it's like when you're reading a book sometimes and you read a couple pages and then you think to yourself like, wow, I don't even remember what I just read. Right. So those times it might be good to just take 15, 20 minutes, might be good to take a few hours, might be good to take a day and just go away from it so that you can revisit it with a fresh mind. So it's a bit of balance. If it's something with a deadline, it's, hey, lock in, put some headphones in, some music in, get it done. Right. Again, think about those tough times. This is what you work for. You work for this. You work for these opportunities. Most of the time you have tough things to do. These are things that you signed up for or asked for. One of the things I always think to myself is, especially when football gets hard, I signed up for this. How am I going to complain about it right now? Right? You signed up for it. No one forced me to sign up for it. So, I try to pump myself up like that to get through those moments. But hopefully that helps. It's a great question. And I think some biggest things, you got to listen to your mind and your body on those things. Sometimes you have to take a break because you don't want to wear yourself out completely. Another great question. Appreciate you doing this. What books would you recommend to get started on learning about financial literacy? So the first book I would recommend to everyone is the best book that I've read personally on money, on financial literacy is, and it's free. It's online. It's a free PDF. It's called The Banker's Code by George Antone. Antone. So you can literally Google it, and they have a free PDF online. But it really helps you think about money in a different way than we've been taught to think about money. It helps you think about the velocity of a dollar and making sure that you become the bank one day, as opposed to depending on the bank to create more money for you. So I would strongly suggest that to everyone, and definitely, again, hit me on the gram or any social media. Let me know what you think of that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's definitely a great one. I am really big into actually like YouTube and some of these authors and just listening to their interviews, because a lot of the things that you see in their interviews, you'll learn so many tidbits on financial information that they just could not put into the book, or that they've just developed a better or stronger understanding since the book. So I would also tell you to YouTube some of Robert Kiyosaki's interviews, some Dave Ramsey interviews, and see what you learn from there. And then that'll also help guide your path. Boom, boom, boom. A football question. At what age did you realize your identity needed to be bigger than just a football player? Ooh, very young, I want to say. Maybe not very young, relatively young. So for me, it was ninth grade. As a ninth grader, I realized that, even though I probably realized it a bit before, but it really sunk into me that, hey, if I put all of my eggs into this football basket and then I do not make it, that's going to be a pretty hard pill to swallow, so to speak. That's going to be tough for me to admit, to say, and then to also have all of my identity tied to that one thing. And God forbid I get hurt, it's completely out of my control. And, I tear my pec and now I can never play football again. Well, if my whole identity is just a football player, then that's a pretty tough place to be mentally. So for me, as a ninth grader, I always started thinking of football as a means to an end. And so the thing that anyone can take from that as well is it doesn't just have to be that you're a football player. It's about finding something that you're talented at, something that you a lot of people say you're the best in the world at. And yeah, there might be something that you're the best in the world at or extremely talented at, but it's about finding something that you're extremely talented at that you can take and use to either do that extremely well or use that as a launch point to get you to something else that you're interested in. One of my favorite stories and people that I like to talk about is Jamie Foxx. Let me see. Raise your hand. Everyone should have like a raise hand button. Raise your hand if you know Jamie Foxx. I don't know, some youngsters around here. I don't know. Okay, I see a lot of hands raised. All right, we good. All right, so Jamie Foxx. Now, Jamie Foxx, when I was maybe in sixth grade, I saw an E! True Hollywood story on Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx's real name is Eric Bishop. He is from Texas. Can't remember the place in Texas. He's from Texas. Football player, all that type of stuff. But Jamie Foxx's true passion is music and singing. True passion is music and singing. However, he realized he was very, very good. He was extremely talented at making people laugh and acting. So he used the comedy and the acting to give him a platform and to springboard himself to have a chance to sing on the national stage, right? So he used something he was extremely talented at to give him a chance to do something he really, really wanted to do. He changed his name from Eric Bishop to Jamie Foxx because as a comedian, he saw that in his town, the local stand-ups clubs and stuff, he saw that more women were getting gigs at the time than men. So he changed his name to a gender neutral name, Jamie, so that he could have a chance when people saw his name, he could get more opportunities to perform. Years later, again, most, if not all of you raise your hand, you know Jamie Foxx's name, but that has always stuck out to me as the sacrifice that he was willing to make and using something that he was extremely talented at to really do something that he really wanted to do. So once he got his own TV show, you see him starting to implement him singing in it. And then he eventually creates his own album, all of those types of things. But that to me is one of the coolest things in the world. And that's something that we all can do. You don't have to just play football to do that. It's just you have to find what your talent is and then, or your platform is, and then take that. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's speaking, maybe it's marketing, but you need to, and then take that and let it springboard you into your dream. Great question. I'm gonna see. I don't know how to unraise everybody's hand, but I'll be curious to know. Raise your hand if you knew that story about Eric Bishop / Jamie Foxx before I just told you that. Boom, few. Nice. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, great question. Okay. I won't say your name, but she said it in the question. But we have a young lady, she's age 11, and she was wondering, what age should we start to save money? Great question. Look, see, I already know. Can I be your friend? That's about to be a mogul right there. What I would say is there is never, ever, it's never too early for you to start to save money. And the biggest thing for you is to start to practice those habits, right? So I'm not sure if you're getting an allowance, but imagine if you're getting an allowance, or if you have a small job, or you're helping out around the house, or whatever it may be, and say, for example, you get $10 for the week, right? Are you taking that $10 and immediately spending it? Or are you saying, hey, let me put 5 to the side now, let me put 5 and let me use 5 today, or let me put 3 to the side now, let me give away 3. And you know, I know some people talk about save, give, and spend jars, right? Let me give away 3 in the sense of not just throwing it in the air giveaway, you know, not making it rain or nothing like that. Let's give it to a cause or an organization or something that you care about and you want to support their mission and what they do. And then let me also spend 3, right? I've worked hard for this $9 at that point, but let me break it down like that. So the biggest thing that I'd say, it's never too early to practice the art of saving money. You don't want to just get used to or build the habit. With money, a lot of money is just habits. And so parents, these are things that you can start to examine with your kids. It's actually one of the things we spoke about with FitMoney. And again, you go to fitmoney.org/Brandon to see some of these things, but you can start to examine your children's habits when it comes to money. You want to make sure that their habits are conducive to them building a strong foundation, a strong financial foundation for themselves, right? I see on here one of my roommates from college, one of my best friends, you know, he's the godfather to my son, I'm the godfather to his. we're giving gifts different now, right? So when I give his son a gift, we're giving it towards his 529, right? And it's probably his son probably would rather have a a toy train set or something like that. But we're building, and one day we'll be able to have these conversations with him when he'll understand, and he'll be so much more appreciative that we started the habit of saving for him early, and then it'll become a new habit for himself. So all things like that are things that you can not only do with you and your family, but also encourage your friends and others to do with you as well. So Ashley, I hope I answered that question. It's never too early to start saving money. And the biggest thing is to start the habit of saving money. And building on that, a lot of people, when we talk with NFL, like NFL players get a lot of flack for blowing money. Oh, they're going broke. All these players are going broke. Well, when you've never had a large amount of money in your life, you've never had money in your life, now you've never had a large amount of money in your life, and you've never created that habit of saving, what would anyone expect for you to do but quote unquote blow the money, right? It's not the the problem is on our school systems not assisting in teaching this information so that we can build these habits. So now when I am 18, 19, 20, and I just got assigned to my first major deal as a first round draft pick to the Boston Celtics, and now I'm worth $40 million. It's not my first time understanding that, hey, I need to take X amount of it and put it to the side to save, and X amount of it and maybe put it towards some causes that I'm interested in, and X amount of it to live and not necessarily spend if you don't have to, but live. So great question. Boom, boom, boom. Another great question from another 11-year-old. Woo, we got some. The future's bright. That's all I'm gonna say. The future's bright. Are there any mentors in your career, like your teachers or coaches, that you still keep in contact with? Great question. Yes. For me, there are a lot of uh, friends that I've looked at as more so mentors. They're on the right path. And as they say, you surround yourself with people who build you. And so I'd look at some of my closest friends as mentors as well. And like sometimes people think a mentor has to be someone way older than you or something like that. There's some mentors that I have that are younger than me because I just really like the way that they do one or two particular things. And you can always learn something from anyone. Please always keep that in mind. So I definitely keep in contact with them. There's also a lot of coaches in my life that have been very, very monumental in helping mold me as a person and a young man, and now an adult. So biggest thing I would say is making sure that you are humble when you're learning from people. One of the things that I've heard people say is, "Oh, I can't listen to them. They're or on the football field, for example, some people will say, "Oh, I'm not taking any advice from him. He's a rookie. What does he know?" Right? Because we're older, we're multiple years in, we can't learn anything from a first year player, which I think is, for lack of a better term, ignorant. I was going to say stupid, but I don't know if that's a bad word nowadays or not. So, but I think that's ignorant, right? If a rookie does something great, a good idea has no rank, is something that a coach told me. Meaning, if a rookie does something great and there's something that I can learn that can make me a better person, a better player, let's talk about it. Let's do it. Again, we want to just build ourselves so that we can be as strong as possible, not only coming out of this pandemic, but forever, right? You're always learning, you're always growing. And the minute you stop doing that, that's when life gets a bit boring, so to speak. So, great question. Great question. Oh, Hey, Brandon, I'm a junior in high school and I want to buy my first car soon. I have a job, but most of the time I spend the money I get right away. What what tips do you have to stop blowing money? Well, that is a awesome question. And the best thing that you just said is you know your problem. You know the issue. So the biggest thing that you have to do, and for everyone, is there's certain things that we know we have willpower over and we're strong in, right? There's certain things that we might know, hey, this is my vice and this is my weakness. So you in those categories, you have to take the onus off of you and almost put yourself at a place where you can't hurt yourself. So whether that's getting the money and giving it directly to a parent, or putting it directly into a certain account that you know you can't touch, or putting it into multiple accounts, one that you can spend, one that you can that is just to save, and you're building your fund. You have the fortune of having vision, because you just said you want to buy your first car soon. You know what you want to buy. If I was you, I would literally take a picture of some car or that car. I'd put it up on my wall on the at the doorway, and I'd literally walk past it and I'd see it every day. Or you put it up on your bathroom mirror and I'd see it every day. So literally I would always have that constant reminder that, hey, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm working towards. So I would do little things like that to help not trick my mind, but keep me motivated to save my money and to not blow it. But then I'd also set up certain uh, assistances that would help keep my money in line as well. Again, the biggest thing is you know the problem, you know where the leak is in your boat, and now it's on you to create discipline for yourself, but then also help yourself as well. Hey, I know for me, I know it's certain cheat meals. I can't have too many cheat meals, because my cheat meal turns into a cheat day, turns into a cheat weekend, turns into a cheat week, and I'll just get back on the diet next week. So I know for me, let's not even go down that path. Hey, I tell some don't even show me those types of foods. I can't see it. I won't even order it, right? I personally, I do not drink alcohol in season. I'm an adult. I'm 29 years old, so I can drink. Yeah, I can go ahead and say that right here. Kids, don't drink. Stay away from drugs, alcohol, all that type of stuff. However, me, I do not drink alcohol in season. It's not in my house. It's nowhere near me. It's nowhere around me. It's not because even if it was around me, I actually have the discipline to not drink it. However, for me, it's like there's certain things when I'm on a diet, no sweets in my house. There's certain things I just keep them out of my house, so I know I won't have the problem. So try doing things like that to help you um, really reach your goal of buying that first car. And then once the pandemic ends, let your boy get a ride or something like that, because I'm trying to save some gas money, and everything thing matters. Cool. What was your first job, and how did you spend/save? Great, great question. Okay. My first job. So I remember my first two jobs. One was working at this company called Samuel James Limited. It was a hedge fund. Worked there, and that was when I learned about finance. And I also worked the night shift at Walmart. Walmart was doing a lot of renovations. For the night shift, you had to be paid above minimum wage. So minimum wage at the time was $7.45. I got that dollar over minimum wage, $8.45. And the way that I saved my money, because I was working to save and to see my bank account grow at the end of the summer. The way that I saved my money was I just kept busy. So if you keep yourself busy with activities, for me it was sports and training and all those things, you keep yourself busy with activities, there's not really that many opportunities to spend on things besides hopefully those positive activities. So for me, that was it for me. We're getting close on time, and so I have a couple more questions, but I also wanted to announce the winners of the football. So for people who we chose randomly, we'll do this again in the future. So hopefully at some point everyone has a chance to win this. But I autographed a few footballs, and for those that registered and also are here today, We wanted to make sure that we will mail you those football. So we'll be in touch via email, or someone on here is probably chatting you right now. But Christopher Rogers, Debbie Barron, and Shannon Lipscomb. So you three will be our winners. Congratulations. But yeah, and thank you for coming as well. Cool. Let's see. We got a couple more questions. And again, a lot of these things also, especially for the money questions, feel free to follow up with FitMoney, fitmoney.org, or to myself at bcope51, and we will definitely try to continue the conversation. All right, couple more questions. How are you able to manage your time effectively with all these different ventures? It is tough. Not gonna lie to you, it is tough. I'm getting bags. Well, my wife says I've always had bags, but I'm getting bags under my eyes trying to make it happen. No, I think it's just about prioritizing the things that you're passionate about. I think when you quote unquote start out, for me, it was saying yes to everything. And as I said yes to everything, and I want, especially for the young people on this call, like I really challenge you to say yes to as much as you can, because when you're learning about what you want to do, it's also just as important to learn about what you don't want to do. So there was a lot of things that I said yes to just to try, and found out that, hey, this is something I can cross off my list. I never want to do this again. Right. And so for me, coming out the gate, so to speak, it was, let's say yes to everything. And now as my vision has been more refined, and I know my own goals and my own aspirations and what I'm trying to work towards now, I'm only working on things that I am passionate about, and the time management comes into play because anything that I am doing is pushing towards that goal. So when we landed at 4 a.m. this morning. I had interviews starting at 7:45 a.m. and my brother Chad and we've been pushing through all day. When you're passionate about the things that you're doing, I'm blessed, right? It's not tedious. I haven't had a coffee at all today. I've been drinking water and just enjoying, right? So these are when you're working in your passion and your hobbies, you'll naturally find time to push yourself through. And then again, the biggest thing is prioritizing initially out that gate, trying to prioritize yourself so that you make sure that you're giving 100% of yourself to everything that you're doing. Once you get to a certain point, then you'll be able to create hopefully a team around you, where now you can give 80% of yourself, and then their 100% turns it into a product that's 150%, much better than anything you could have done on your own. So that's how I answer that. Great question. And then the last question for today will be, was there ever a time where you felt like you wanted to quit? And I will say 100% yes. All the time, actually. Literally all the time. And the reason why I want to answer that I'll always answer everything honestly and truthfully. But the reason why I wanted to answer that one last is because for those of you that are feeling like, hey, this is not right, this new norm is not for me, I'm not smart enough to do this, I don't have the education to do this, I don't have the support to do this, you are not alone. We all feel like that all the time. And it's on you to mentally pull yourself out of those traps. I think, again, there's times, even within this past year, this season, where I felt like I've wanted to quit. And that is, I think, something that I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think something that a lot of people feel at times. The difference between the ones who people deem as quote unquote successful and those that aren't are, we just said, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to push through. Again, in those times, that's when I think about the people that I can help. That's when I think about you. That's when I'm thinking about my family. That's when I'm thinking about the other people. It's not just about me and my needs or my fatigue at that point. It's about pushing through to make sure that we all win, we all eat, and we can all continue to build together. So with that being said, I truly appreciate you all for taking the time to be here on your Tuesday night. Again, I want to make sure I'm respectful of everyone's time. So we start on time. We're going to end on time. FitMoney.org. Please go visit them. FitMoney.org/Brandon. Please go check out the information that we have, and again, take ownership of your life. Take ownership of your education. And really place an emphasis on this financial literacy education. Financial freedom is not the new wave. It's the thing to do, the thing to be. It's what allows you to take full ownership of your day, your schedule. But the only way you can do that is by focusing your education on that. So with that being said, I appreciate you all. I hope you all stay safe. Continue to mask up. Go Patriots. For that one person that said the Broncos are going to win on Sunday, we're going to prove you wrong. We're going to prove you wrong. But stay safe. God bless you all. And thank you all for coming.